After watching these tips, you're going to be so sweaty that Greta Thunberg will call you out for being personally responsible for melting the polar ice caps. What's up guys, it's Average Joel making average content for the average viewer, and here we are, the wait is over and we finally have our hands on the Modern Warfare Battle Royale, and my god, it is a beast of a game. I've been playing non-stop since it came out and I want to share with you guys my best Warzone tips for how to win in Warzone. The footage that you're watching in the background is from my first ever Modern Warfare Battle Royale win, so I hope you enjoy it. Before we get on with it, let's see if we can hit 50 likes on this video, and if you're new here and want to stay up to date with Warzone content without being forced to sit through more Raid Shadow Legends ads, then it would be awesome if you'd subscribe. So let's talk about it. Now, Warzone is a bit of a different beast to many of the other Battle Royales that we have grown to love, or in some cases, loathe. And one of the main differences that I have found is how loot works. Now, I'm not going to drag this on and explain all of the obvious stuff, so I'm going to get straight to the point. Where you drop does not matter in Modern Warfare Battle Royale as much as it does in other games. Now what I mean by this is that you can get a pretty decent loadout from dropping pretty much anywhere. So if you aren't the most confident of players and you don't fancy getting into a massive gunfight in the first 2 minutes and ending up getting sent back to the gulag quicker than someone who just told Putin that he looks like Gru from Despicable Me, then you are not putting yourself at a massive disadvantage like you might have done if you had dropped in a random hut in Fortnite. So, this means that you are able to just sit back at the edge of the gas and gather your thoughts before heading into the battle. Now the other reason for this is the prevalence of your custom loadouts. At first glance, it might seem extremely difficult to get a hold of your personal loadout, but I promise you, it is actually very easy to come across. There are two options really. The first is that you can buy these at a buy station for $6,000. Now, I know that this seems like a lot, but remember that each of your squad mates will receive this when you buy it, so a well-coordinated trio can give one person all of the cash that they collect, and then you can all reap the benefits. Now, the other way to get this is by during the second circle, a supply drop will fall from the sky near your position. This works because the game calculates a position on the map between you and at least one other squad, the idea being that both teams will fight over it. For this reason, I wouldn't actually recommend going for these if you are in a hot area, as if you are near a player like myself, I'm going to be using that puppy as bait and I'll just be waiting to pop your head like an overripe zip. Right. So whilst we're on the subject of loadouts, it's very important to put a little bit of thought into what you will actually take with you into the Warzone. Good God, saying it like that sounds cheesy as hell, but I'll stick with it. So, for those of you who are coming over from multiplayer, you will want to make some adjustments to your loadout. Typically, in multiplayer, I like to make my classes as fast as possible, and I pretty much make every single gun as similar to an SMG as possible. Now this isn't as important in Warzone because a lot of the engagements that you will encounter are going to be from a medium to very long range. With that being said, my loadout is as follows. I use the M4 with a flip-up sight, the Corvus Marksman barrel, 60 round mags and the monolithic suppressor, with the crown jewel of this setup being the weapon perk Focus. This combination works wonders because it's all set up to deal maximum damage at as long as range as possible, and by using Focus it means that your character will flinch considerably less when getting shot at, which means that if you are returning fire you will be able to stay on target a hell of a lot easier, and as a result you will win the vast majority of your gunfights. So also on this class I'm running Overkill with the AX50 and I have set it up in a very similar vein. I'm not worried about ADS speed with this at all, so it's just set up to be as good at range as possible, but also I want to use that focus perk on this gun as well for the above reason. Actually, let me just reiterate this point because I feel it is going to be extremely overlooked. Because the health is higher and thus the engagements are longer, you are going to have such a massive advantage if you are using this perk. In fact, go and put Focus on your class right now. Well, not right now. Please don't leave the video. I need that juicy watch time. So to finish off this class, I use EOD and Tracker. Both of these I feel are pretty self-explanatory, as the EOD stops me getting accidentally killed by some lucky idiot 4-year-old with no thumbs who just so happens to lob a frag at me, and Tracker because that way you'll be able to see if someone has just run around a building before you get there. Moving on. Right, are you still with me? Good, because we still have some awesome tips to go. So, I want to talk to you guys about respawning in Warzone. Now, as I'm sure that you are aware, there is a mechanic in Modern Warfare Battle Royale that is new to the Battle Royale genre in general, and that is, you drop out of a plane. Just kidding, fool. Of course I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the Gulag. And for those of you who don't know, although if you don't, how the hell is this average video the first time you're hearing about it? But what happens if you die before the final 2 circles in Warzone is that once per match you can get sent to the Gulag for a 1v1, the winner of which will be spat out into the map. Now I want to talk to you about the 2 metas that I have noticed this has inadvertently caused. The first of which is aggression. So the way to get better at any game is to practice, right? But the problem with a lot of other battle royales is that in order to practice, you have to get aggressive, which a lot of players don't want to do, as the stakes are too high. This is why you get players who spend the whole game sitting and crying in a bush with a little bit of poo sliding out every time they hear a footstep, and just hoping that this will all blow over. Now in Warzone, the good thing is that you pretty much always have a way back into the action. Now because the game is free to play, anyone who is at least half decent at COD should be able to win their 1v1 no problem. For example, I'm a pretty okay player, but by no means am I a pro, but I have won 8 Gulag fights and only lost 1. The key is to just be aggressive, because the average player is usually a giant quivering pussy. And all you need to do is exploit that shit. But I digress. My point here is that it is super easy to get back in the action, so there is no punishment for playing aggressively. So make like a drunk stepdad and spend your games getting unnecessarily aggro. The other thing that the Gulag does is keep the player count up. This means that there will always be a plethora of enemies to kill. But there is one thing that I think a lot of people are overlooking. When you win the Gulag, you get to drop pretty much exactly where you died. So if you have just wiped out a whole squad, you need to be super cautious about where a team you have just killed might be coming back from, because they will be gunning for you. You just pulled their panties down and absolutely shafted them in front of all their pals, and they won't like that. So either run away or find a nice spot and wait for them to come back. And let's be honest, nothing makes you feel more powerful and gives us more of a raging hard-on than taking out that squad and slapping them again as soon as they respawn. So the last thing that I want to talk about in this video might seem a bit obvious, but trust me, it is so crucial to your success and winning in Warzone, and that is communication. Luckily in Warzone, we have been treated to an extremely robust ping system, whereby you can call out enemy players and loot etc. to your teammates. Now just quickly on this point, try and actually have your crosshair on an enemy when you ping them, as this will actually 3D spot them and follow them with the spot, making it extremely easy for your team to see. But this isn't the tip. The tip here is to try and play with someone who has a mic. Whether that be 1 or 2 people, with more than one person on comms together, your chances of winning go up dramatically. Now if you don't have any friends, first of all, don't worry buddy, some of the most intellectual people in human history were habitual loners, but secondly, I invite you all to drop your Activision IDs down in the comments, and I will pin mine to the top of the comments, so we can all squad up together and have a bloody good time. So there we have it, some of my best tips for how to win in Warzone. Let me know if you've enjoyed it and found some of these tips useful. I'm super excited about this game and I can't wait to pull it apart and find out all the best tips and tricks for you guys. Now, if you've been watching my videos for a little while, you'll know I like to ask a question at the end to see who is stuck around. So if you're still here, I'd like you to let me know by answering this question. Who would be your dream trio of non-gamer celebrities to drop into Warzone with? Anyway, that's it from me today. I'm Average Joel. Peace.
Marking new safe zone. Time's almost up. Finish the mission. That's a win. Proper job.